Hi everyone, I'd love to talk astrology for the month ahead. So, we're talking month of September in 2019. If you're new to me, I'm a spiritual life coach, teacher, and healer, and I love integrating the moon phases in healing work and clarity work. And I love looking at the stars to see what is going on a very big level. So, getting that helicopter view. So let's dive in for this month, shall we? So I have to start by telling you the bigger events first because those will impact you most. And then obviously the full energy of the month so you can use it to benefit this in your life. And this is also a way I'd love to look at either personal astrology or what we're doing now, looking at the big picture, because there's always benefits in everything that's going on. It's just that you have to find a way to change or shift that perspective for you. And if you know what your challenges are, then you also know how you can best work with that. So one of the biggest events coming up is the planet Saturn going direct again. This will happen the 18th of September. And it's really important that everything that you've not yet organized, everything that you've not taken charge of, especially in regards to the finance department, that can be a really big one, your career department, anything basically in areas that would do well if you systemize things, do it now, because when Saturn went retrograde for the past months, this it basically gave you the opportunity to start looking like, okay, so how am I doing with my systems? How am I doing with normally putting pressure on things, and is that still working for me? Because when Saturn retrogrades, it takes the pressure off, so it gives you a little bit of space basically to start changing things around in ways that work well for you. This has all been happening in the sign of Capricorn, so its own sign already, and it likes a serious approach. It likes you taking responsibility. On top of that, Saturn, if you don't do all of those things will come up anyway, so you have to take charge of it. We also had the eclipses happening, of course, in affecting Capricorn and Cancer. So if you have personal placements there, then you'll definitely feel this. But again, this is an overall energy that is present for everyone. Now, what else? What can you benefit on? Maybe I'd love to start there because I already said like organizing is a big thing. And it's also happening in the month of Virgo because the sun is now in the sign of Virgo. What is Virgo really good at? Virgo is great at creating systems, creating a strategy, organizing, they may have the reputation for cleaning, and everything is clean and organized, and you can OCD is a part of the Virgo trait that can definitely be that can definitely be part of it. That's what I wanted to say here. So you can use those skills this month. Now, for many, the month of September is a bit of a, it is a little bit of a serious month because summer is kind of over. We're nearing to autumn. This is the last harvest month. We maybe, especially after we had the sign of Leo, in which we played and we ran around and we had like so much fun and it felt endless, and all of a sudden, ta-da, there it is. There's school for if you have children, and life is going back to normal in a sense. So this is the energy that Virgo brings. And looking at the sky, because we have a lot of planets in Virgo in the beginning of the month as well, so the very 1st of September, you can really benefit off that energy. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that, and tell you a bit more about the days to look out for. But in general, anything that you still need to correct. So anything that's not organized, what I just talked about, anything that you need to look over again, any type of planning, any type of, maybe you also the finances, maybe you've invested in something that's not paying off. It's a very good month to look at your budget, to look at what's coming in, what's going out. All of those things can work well for you. And yes, if you're not a Virgo, it may take you more time, because Virgos are excellent in figuring out the step by step process. Doesn't mean you can't borrow these energies, because you can, especially when the sun is in Virgo this month. So take your time for that, and it's a really good time to start building things up for yourself and to look at long-term planning. Now, here's another thing. So overall in the month, the 1st of September is really good for money and organization and getting your systems in place, and maybe even correcting what I just said, correcting mistakes. We have the Sun conjunct Mars, Mercury trine Uranus, and Venus trine Saturn on that day. So there's a lot happening the very first of this month. So the Sun conjunct Mars will give you the action, will give you the focus. Mercury trine Uranus makes you see what needs to be done differently to get to that long-term goal. And then Venus trine Saturn, and I talked about Saturn, so Venus is also great for money, but Saturn, again we still want to reorganize that bit. So something is not completely in place yet, so what can you do to get it there? So do your finances the first of the month. That is definitely my recommendation. So last month we finally had planet Jupiter gone direct as well. Jupiter is the planet of luck. Jupiter helps you with a lot of things and is great for purpose. Now this month, so maybe you had all this clarity coming in, woohoo, I know my next steps. But this month, maybe you're kind of bumping into certain things. It's very so you may want to prepare for that. Not everything you're trying to put out this month will, be received with open arms. But you want to look at the little bumps in the road, because that's what you want to see. That everything that's not instantly manifesting. Why is that not happening? It is not happening because you probably need to make a few more steps. So it's not the best month to supersize that straight away. If you've done that last month and you put it into manifesting mode, that's awesome, because then you utilize that energy. This month, it is looking at your long-term goals and paying particular attention, what am I bumping into? And not to stop it, but to just simply see, okay, so maybe I need a little bit more time. Maybe I need to do something differently. Again, this is where Virgo comes in handy. Right, and let's go to some of the bigger events as well, which are the moons. So for those who track in which sign the moon, the moons are happening, this is for you. Yes. So we started the month, or we kind of started the month because it was the end of August in a new moon in Virgo. So if you have any doubts about what is going on with this astrology, and is it actually, I'm starting to notice that this new moon is actually always in the sign of, of the sun sign of that month. And that is correct, because astrology is a sun-based system. So when the sun and the moon come together, that is basically when it's new moon, or when the new moon month is starting. So what you're doing, if you look at the moons based on astrology, is that you are tuning in more into the sun sign of that month, and the moon in general. So I'll keep this really short. Obviously, I teach this, but the moon in general is about your emotional body. It's about what's going on within you. It's about your intuition. It's about learning all the secrets of the universe. It's got amazing potential. The moon phases calendar and an astrological calendar are not the same. A sun-based system, which astrology is, obviously looks at what is the sun doing. A lunar calendar that they've tracked back thousands and thousands of years. You can read back in the free moon book I have on that. Is really living life by what the moon is doing. So that doesn't have the connection with the sun. It's the cycle of the moon, which is shorter, which is around 29 days in general. So the rhythm is then really, so your daily rhythm of life, it's like how your planning is then based on the moon. So this is, moon time is very, very different than sun time, which is what we normally use. Okay, so without further ado, I was going to give you the moons and what is going on. So the 14th of September we have a full moon in Pisces. It is like mega imaginary, because Pisces, of course, already is the dreaming sign. It's the otherworldly sign, and on top of that, it is related to Neptune. And this time, Neptune is actually literally in the mix, because the full moon will happen conjunct the Neptune. So very, very dreamy, otherworldly, are able to maybe have like a lot of psychic experiences, or if you want to do divination, or all of those things are in the mix the 14th of September. Now, I've just told you that, or maybe you don't know that, but normally I don't look, when I look at the moon calendar, I look at the expression of the moons in connections to, obviously, yes, I do look what else is going on in the sky, but I'm very aware of that. Astrology is not the same as the moon calendar, moon representing going on, what's going on within. So I also look at like what's happening in this season, what else, what bigger events are going on, and this month is very much about harvest in general. So this is also why we're doing the money magic workshop for everyone in the moon circle, because it's such a great month, both from the month of Virgo, which is astrology, and obviously like the moon and the flow of the moon can really supersize the money work. So full moon in Pisces, the 14th of September. Now, as it happens, so maybe you love birds like that, or people looking for romance really like this, to hearing this, because Mercury and Venus will also move the 14th of September in the sign of Libra. What is Libra all about? Libra loves hanging out with other people. Libra loves beauty. Libra loves indulging. Libra loves it if people get along well. They really are the perfect host at parties. They can balance people. And Libra is a romantic. So Venus being about romance, and the full moon. Actually, all full moons, really all full moons, if you want to, are obviously about manifesting, but if you, they're particularly good to work with love or manifesting love. Any full moon is, because, well, obviously, like it's not without reason we see all the romance movies with the full moons, and even if you just search on the internet, right, all the couples and the love and the many pictures are with the full moon. So yes. So enjoy that full moon time, enjoy that fullness, enjoy your harvest, enjoy like dreaming up something that you really love, because you're Neptune, and can really reach the imagination around this. And if you can dream it, then your mind, if you open it up in your mind, so if you open up the imagination in your mind, it really becomes possible, because your mind will start focus the energy. If it's there, it's easier to get there. So Then, though, because we've just a few days before Saturn starts turning direct. And Saturn is in the sign of Capricorn, and Pluto still is in the sign of Capricorn. And this is kind of the whole energy we've worked with for many months now. So what could that have felt like for you? Obviously there's been a lot of, like, who's in control, who has the power, how are we treating other people, what am I putting up with, why am I working in an environment that has a strong hierarchy, what is going on with the patriarchy, and toxic masculinity is coming up a lot, of course, but what are we putting up with, who have been our leaders, and why even. So there's a lot of questioning going on around that, and you would have had choices to turn that around for yourself, and to also look at your own parts. Like, did you speak up ever, or did you just go along with it? So that can be a little bit of a bump, like, ouch. Okay, I'm looking at my own behavior in this, and or maybe I did go along with it, but I didn't see it before. You really want to look at everything before going into criticizing yourself or really beating yourself up, which I see so much with some of my clients sometimes. It's okay, because you weren't aware, you didn't have the information, you were just doing what everyone else was doing. You had, it's difficult to start creating a different perspective if everyone around you has always done this in certain ways. Obviously, the foundations of Earth and how we do business and how we interact with other people have been changing. This is the rise of the divine feminine everyone has been speaking about for a long time. You've heard me say over and over, she's already returned. But this is why we're now really looking at the level of, how well are you working with your own emotions? Do you understand your emotions? So empaths and anyone working with the emotional body in general, or seeing and connecting with other people, first true connection and emotion, you're going to be the way showers, because there has not been the room or the space and the place for a very long time, because logic always rules. And now what we want to start combining. So we still want, of course, the logic, but we want to start combining the wisdom of the emotional body. And that is definitely going to come from those and from leaders who are connected with what's going on within themselves. So they can either, you can teach your children. I need to say this as well. So because moms and mothers in general, you're the ones that are raising children. So you have such a beautiful advantage of taking in all of these new values, all of these new earth type of qualities that you wish, how do you want to treat others? How do you want to treat other people? How do you want to treat animals? How do you want to treat the earth? How do you want to, whatever is your personal passion, purpose, goal, what feels really good and aligned for you, but you can bring in that compassion and empathy into your, raising and helping assist in a new type of masculinity as well. This is one of the things that the divine masculine showed me, that because the mother, you give birth either very literally as in to your children, and you have the beautiful ability to be that that powerful mother energy, and that gentle nudging into connection to emotions, to values, to what's important. Or maybe it's more of a symbolic giving birth, especially for creatives, right? So you create your writings, your paintings, your poetry, your performance, all of your arts that inspire so many. This is something that you can, you're probably going to feel, the more aware you are already, the more it will show up. This is like the whole world stage is playing this out. So this is the cool thing, or this is what I really love about astrology myself. As you can hear, I'm very enthusiastic about it. But you can always see it if you look like at the politics, if you look at like what's going on with life on in a very big way. You can see the process. You can see the awareness being born over and over again. And yes, as Earth, we're going very, very slow. But this day and age, and especially if you're listening to this podcast, this day and age is very much about that new consciousness that it's already being born, it's already being present, but we want to expand, and we're now going to expand on a rather large and rather rapid scale into the area of emotions. And Saturn is going to be opposite, so this is obviously where I'm leading to. What else is going on? The 28th of September. But this is a slow process. Slow processes you're going to feel regardless. So this is why I already painted the picture for you, what you may have experienced. So Saturn is going to be the opposite to the true node, the 28th of September. What I said before, this is where we had the eclipses in anyway. So this is going to create friction between old world leadership, as I call it, versus new world leadership. Because the old world leadership is definitely showing up in leaders like Putin and Boris Yeltsin, and else actually Boris Johnson in the UK as well. Oh my God, like what's going on, right? There's very much like a very strong dictator-like energy almost going on when you look at the political connections on Earth. And then we have the other type of leadership, which is much more about humanity and values and caring for people. And I think Canada is a great example of this. Again, maybe you're not interested in like the big picture around this, but I'm just so you can have a feel for it. It's like, wow, yes, this is playing out outside of me. And if you're a female entrepreneur, or if you're a female entrepreneur, this can be a brilliant time to start educating people on a different type of doing business, of a different type of connection you'd like to make with people, and a different way of building up your businesses by also giving back. So this is like the friction going on, and we're going to feel the 28th of September when Saturn in Capricorn, so old world leadership, is going to be conjunct the South Node as well, because it's not just the opposition in the North Node, which is about the direction. It's going to be so everything that we've done, basically, that's not been working. So you can look at this in your own life. What has not been working for you? What kind of behaviors did not pay off at all? What is feeling yuck? What just you don't want to put up with anymore, has the potency to become very apparent around that time, around the end of the month. And it will also give you, so this is what you wanted to pay attention to on a personal level, it will give you the clarity on how you like to show up. What kind of care do you personally need? What kind of care do you want to give to others? But don't confuse this, because this is another thing I've been talking about a lot. It has been, and especially for quite a few healers, the self-sacrificing is out of this world. It's shifting out. But many healers have been on this path of like, I have to be the one for humanity. I have to hold the space, and it's been enough. It's been enough. You've been giving enough. You've been taking enough care. What the step you need to make is, how do I hold the space for myself? Where do I need to set up the boundaries and say like, no more of this, and really put yourself on that first place. So all of these issues can come up again. Also, like, where am I expecting other people to do something for me, while really I should be the one to take care of myself in regards to this? Where am I making too big of a deal about things not going my way, and I can actually, I can make it a little bit more easy. I can detach myself a little bit from the situation and think, you know what, I'll just connect to my own strength, my own power. I know what I want. I know where I want to head. I know who I am as a person. And I'm just going to let this one pass. So it's also about creating more calm, more emotional depth within the self, more responsibility for how you've been showing up in the world, but especially how you've been showing up for yourself. So these shifts are already at play. So I hope this reminder and you hearing this can help you to take those steps. Then the 28th of September, what else is going on? We're going to have the new moon in Libra. So this is the dark moon. This is when I do the dark moon healing circles. They happen once a month, and we honor ourselves and we take time for the connection, the sacred connection within ourselves. And we honor the space and we honor what we've been through. And then we allow whatever shifts that needed to happen. So this is what we do around dark moon, which is often called new moon as well. So this is often confusing for people. So it's the new moon in Libra, but we also have that opposition of Saturn and Pluto. Just the thing what I've talked about, what you may notice is still going on in regards to this. So all of these themes I've just discussed is something that may definitely come up for you. And then, so the end of the month and the beginning of October already, but I'll send you more information when it's happening. Maybe I'll create more of a Saturn Pluto podcast as well for you if you want it. So let me know if you want more information, because these big events, they are predicting like what is going on, and this is going to influence for months and years even. So this is why you want to pay attention to this big waves of influence, going over the earth, coming from the sky. So let me know if you want that. Beginning of October, there's more going on. It's like you really want to make sure before the 18th of September this month that you have your ducks in a row, that you're looking at your foundation. You're looking at, where do I want to go? What didn't work for me? What is okay to, what kind of, maybe you want to let go of certain people because they've not been supporting you. What kind of support systems do you need to have in place? Especially look at the basics around finance and around certain type of strategy. Career and work is definitely going to come up for a lot of people around this time as well. Questions about how you want to do business, if you are in business, or what type of job you'd like to be in overall, and whatever you got planned for your future ahead. Brilliant time to also re-examine your goals. How far did you get with them? Brilliant time to look at health, well-being, exercise as well. Is there something that you need to adjust? Did you want to feel healthier, more vital? Did you decide to cut out sugar or whatever it is? Are you still on track with this, or is it time to turn this around for yourself? Okay, so this was it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Let me know if you would enjoy a Pluto and Saturn, so like big events, extra podcast for me or a live stream on this, on how to benefit. Obviously, if you are in the Dark Moon Healing Circle, which is only $29 a month, you can unsubscribe anytime. You're actually getting a free bonus this month, which is a money magic workshop. The information is coming from the Akashic Records. I'm only going to give this a gift to those who are in the Dark Moon Healing Circle, and otherwise you can purchase it. And the price I've received is $197 for this. So if you're in the Dark Moon Healing Circle, you have a huge benefit. Okay, everyone. So I'm wishing you a beautiful month of September. See you all soon. If you didn't know me, I'm Laura. I'm a spiritual life coach, teacher, healer. And I've been on this path for 25 years. I come from the earth-based path. I love inspiring you to connect yourself back to your own wisdom, which you already had, see your uniqueness, and start bringing that uniqueness into the world. All right, guys, much love. This was Laura.